What's going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. In this episode, we'll be reviewing that Fremantle game from the other night. A lot to talk about, so let's just run that intro, jump straight into it. So just before we do jump straight into it, as always, if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. There's going to be videos coming out of my wazoo this week and next week because of all this, footy frenzy sort of stuff. And follow me on Twitch, Swoop Luke. Follow me on Instagram, Swoop Luke. And if Trump doesn't ban TikTok, follow me over there as well at Swoop Luke. So anyway, let's jump into this review. So in a game we were pretty much poised to win. Fremantle sitting 17th, us sitting just out of the 8. Got smashed by the West Coast Eagles the week before. It was an outlier, that game, so we were looking to come back, looking to make a statement on the competition again. Fremantle just outclassed us, wanted it more, and ultimately won the game. Before this game had started, there was a more off-field drama for Collingwood with that COVID breach by Buckley and Sanderson. And then Eddie Maguire said something a couple days ago. And then before that, Eddie Maguire said something about COVID breaches, and then that happened. So you can see mentally we were already on the back foot. And then we come out, we were supposed to be good or great first quarter specialists. That's where we do most of our attacking, most of our, goals come from the first quarter. Fremantle played this keepings off game, and, credit to Justin Longmire and the Fremantle Dockers themselves, kept us to one goal. They didn't score anything. So Fremantle were 0-0-0 at the end of that first quarter. We were 1 goal to 8. We scored 1 goal to, usually we score about 3, 4, 5 goals in the first quarter, because that's where obviously we score most of our 45% of our scoring come in the first quarter. That didn't happen, and that's exactly what Fremantle wanted to do. On the back foot they were playing keepings off, more uncontested possessions. And then it was all anchors from there on in. After that, Fremantle came out, kicked 10 goals in the next 3 quarters to our 6. And now you can see that we've got a problem with leaking goals. First from having an airtight or watertight defence, now to leaking 28 goals. 28 goals, 4 points or 3 points in the last 2 games. And we were just getting absolutely outscored by our opponents in the West. And we just looked like a team that was bereft of confidence and bereft of any heart. There was a bit of a fight back. We kicked a couple in a row. I think we kicked 3 goals in a row. Bit of a fight back in the last quarter, but ultimately Fremantle wanted it more. We didn't show any fight, any heart. It just looked like we were mentally and physically just done. And then, like I said, Fremantle go on and they win that game. Despite it all, despite a shit game and stuff like that, there was a couple of things to like. The first one, obviously, Darcy Moore is an All-Australian defender, and I think Braden Maynard is going to be there as well. Darcy went at 90% disposal efficiency from 19 disposals out of that back half. He was playing on Nat Fyfe at one stage when Nat Fyfe was playing as a deep forward. He had 7 marks, 13 intercept possessions, and if that doesn't scream All-Australian defender, I don't know what the hell will. But his partner in crime, Braden Maynard, played just as good of a game. Maynard finished with 24 disposals, mostly off the half-back, but also down the left wing as well. He was kind of trying to set up the play and with a little bit of his dash. For the 500-metre gain, 8 marks, and also 11 intercept possessions. So you can see, if we didn't have Maynard, we would have got done by a lot more than we ultimately did. And just credit to them, I think they will be All-Australian defenders when the All-Australian defenders and the All-Australian gets announced. Another thing that I like to see was the return of Steele Sidebottom. 2 goals, 1 deep into the last quarter, which got us, I think, about 5 or 6 points away from Fremantle. And you could tell that he was a little bit rusty getting into it, no pun intended. But when he got going. Magnificent player, we know that, and someone that we have missed for the last 4 weeks. Another and probably one of my favourites, and one of your favourites on Instagram as well, was that in the third quarter, we scored 4 goals. And we are absolutely shocking in third quarters. I posted about it on Instagram, talked about it in another video. Absolutely shocking in the third quarter. But we kicked 4 goals and we had the momentum going into the last quarter. And, you know, we all know how that went. But we didn't have a good first quarter, had a good third quarter. Apparently you can't win them all. I mentioned previously that I felt like we didn't show any sort of heart, any sort of fight, and that was kind of the theme throughout the day, especially in that first quarter where, you know, we usually start really fast. We only scored 1 goal. It just didn't feel like we were manning up or wanting to take the game on. We were over handballing and we were doubting ourselves, and that's not the Collingwood brand, but it has become the brand in the last 2 games. Another thing that I disliked was last week Buckley said that this game was an outlier. Sorry, not this game. The West Coast game was an outlier. We put up pretty much this exact same thing that we did against West Coast to Fremantle the other day. What I mean by that is if we were versing a better team like Richmond or Brisbane and we put up what we did against Fremantle, we would get smacked like we did against West Coast. Is that too confusing? I feel like I'm just, you know, putting dots and threads everywhere like some sort of conspiracy theorist. But, you know, like that's exactly what I'm trying to say. I don't know any way that I can explain it better. I just feel like that West Coast Eagles game might have been an outlier, but now after seeing what we put up against Fremantle, it definitely wasn't. And there's this downward trend that we need to rectify against Sydney. Otherwise, we'll lose to another 17th team on the ladder. Another thing that I really disliked, and it's just been happening for the last couple of weeks, is that our forward line is still a shambles. Steve-O sometimes plays too far up the ground. He won't attack the ball. You know, Josh Thomas isn't doing much. He dropped an easy sitter, and then Fremantle kicked 2 goals because of that. It's just little things like this that, you know, it's not even with DeGoey. Even with DeGoey in our forward line around him would still be a shambles. We can't rely on DeGoey to kick 4, 5, 6 goals a week for us to win games. Will Hoskin-Elliott, Steve-O, even Elliott, Josh Thomas, Mychek to an extent. Everyone really needs to pick up their socks if we're to kick a winning margin to beat teams. Special mentions, John Noble absolutely played a stunning game, probably the best game I've seen him play in the black and white stripes. Think he's really coming into his own, and himself and Quaynor really riff well off each other. They're both speedsters, and even Quaynor, whenever he gets the ball, I'm kind of like, I think someone said it as well on Instagram, you kind of just sit back and go, oh, awesome. Quaynor's got the ball, he's got to back himself in, and we're going to finally see movement, not just this stagnant bullshit. Second special mention, Braden Sire comes back, kicks an awesome goal. Bit of the Superman celebration. Big comic book fan, so I absolutely love that. It was good to see him back out there. Think he keeps his spot. You know, didn't do a lot of possessions and stuff, but I think he keeps his spot mainly because he's fresh and we need his talent running through the middle if none of our mids are going to do that. Another special mention as well to Mark Keane on debut. I have a lot to say about this, but I'll keep it short. Mark Keane was put on Taberner, who is one of the better forwards in the AFL this season. Commanding forward, takes a good mark, kicks a goal. They, as in the coaching panel, put Mark Keane, a debutant, right, in the thick of it on Taberner at fullback. They didn't change him. They kept persisting with him, even when Taberner kicked 2, even when Taberner kicked 3. They really needed to put Imagine onto him or Darcy Moore. Let Mark Keane kind of become that third man in, or not have Imagine in at all and keep Ruffy in. If Ruffy was rested, tell us that he's rested. Don't just say omitted. There's just no... You don't believe what any of these injuries or ins and outs says when they're saying, oh, no, he was rested. It's like, oh, no, tell me he was rested. Don't tell me he was dropped for form, because I would rather a 70% firing roughhead, and this might sound harsh, a 70% firing roughhead over Imagine, who absolutely just didn't give us anything. I think we have to lay off Keane. He'll get his go against Sydney again. Maybe they'll fucking put him on, Buddy Franklin makes a return and they'll put him on Buddy and he'll get 9 kicked against him. But I think Keane has to lift his head high because it was the coaching panel that really stuffed him up in that game. where the game was lost, you'd think by looking at the stats, you go, oh, we should have really run this game. We have more disposals, more inside 50s and stuff like that. But I think the game was lost because we just weren't connecting. The mids and the forwards weren't connecting. The back line, fine. You know, okay, we leaked a couple of goals, but the transition from the back to the midfield, perfect. Darcy Moore, Isaac Quaynor, John Noble, you know, Braden Maynard, the list goes on. That was good. It was getting from the middle to the attack that we were lacking. Either bombing it in long, over handballing, waiting too long so the Dockers were able to flood their back line. They were getting us on the counter attack. And if you look at the stats from a midfield point of view, we smashed them in the hitouts, of course. I think it was about 50 to 34 or something. But they smashed us in clearances by about 10 or 15 in clearances. So to me, that just means a lack of connection between Grundy and the midfielders, and that the Fremantle midfielders are roving to Grundy's taps. With saying that, every single team is doing that. Is Grundy and the midfielders just not connecting, or is there a more sinister thing sort of going around where they just can't play to Grundy's tap work? I don't have any answers for that, and I need answers for that. I mentioned our performance inside 50. We had 9 more inside 50s than Fremantle. We had only 13 scoring shots from 43 inside 50. So that's about a 30% conversion rate. And that's absolutely shit ass for a team like Collingwood, who boast a good forward line and a good enough midfield that can kick goals. And we're just not seeing that happen. So like I said, there's some connection that is just not working between the mids and the forwards. Anyway, guys, that's been my review. I feel like there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We do versus Sydney, Adelaide, and then Melbourne. So we do first 3, by all accounts, not very good teams. But, you know, neither was Fremantle a good team. The best thing about this short turnaround is that we have Sydney in a few days' time, and we can come out and show the AFL world again what we are about and kind of get our season up and running again. But as always, I'd love to know your thoughts down below. You know, leave a comment. You know, it means a lot, and I love riffing off you guys as well. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers, swoop you later.
Ooh la la.
What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back. Oh, my eyeball. God damn it. Something in my fucking eye. Oh. Are you okay? Don't bite me. Alright, go.